All
That
right, and that's
is
it for our show
hello
tonight. Good
and
night.
that is hello and welcome to All the Mess with Max and Jeff in Dinosaur.
There is something wrong with you.
I know. I have to go just completely over the top with my openings every time now. Hey, everybody's afternoons to you. I get to throw off Max for about the first minute of the show.
There is something wrong with you.
I agree. I have too much free time on my hands.
I wish I knew what that felt like.
Yeah.
Okay. So, hello,
Damn it.
everyone, to our first Thursday episode. Well, technically not our first Thursday because of that whole thing when we had to
Yeah, a couple of weeks
reschedule.
ago. But our first
However,
confirmed Thursday.
yes.
Yeah.
Do not play. So you better stop. My computer is flipping out.
Oh no. Is it having a case of the Thursdays too? It's like I'm not used to this on Thursdays. Wednesdays, guys.
Close. What did I just tell you?
It's
Anyway,
trying to get out. It's trying to escape.
it's all like, look, I can do all the things, even though you don't want me to.
It does the things when you don't want it to do the things.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I know how that goes.
I'm sorry, y'all. Today was a hot day. Very hot, long day.
It was very humid out.
It was. I did get to get off work a little bit and go for a 20-minute drive on my bike.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, that wasn't so bad.
I'm getting a little bit extra bike time. That's good stuff.
Yes. Hopefully after the podcast I will be getting back on my bike and also riding, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think after I get off the podcast, I'll probably continue watching the Jurassic Park movies. I got through the first two.
You've literally had all day.
Yeah, I've had since 10 o'clock this morning, and then I had a meeting with my rental property stuff, and I had to get pizza this afternoon.
Pizza. Oh, pizza. Anyway.
Yeah, Big Cheese here in Wellington was just shouting its name out to me, and I was like, yeah, I'm definitely getting some pizza today.
Heck yeah. I think I'm having a chicken stir fry tonight.
Ooh, yummy.
Should be good. So tonight's reason for gathering is Jurassic Park and Jurassic World movies. Because the new one has recently come out, still fresh in theaters. I had the pleasure of seeing it last weekend.
Awesome. Did you do the drive-in or did you go to a theater?
Oh, drive-in, buddy. Anytime I can go to the drive-in, that's where it's at.
Yeah. They were last time I was at the drive-in, they were promoting it on one of the screens, and I was like, oh, I like just the opening trailer for it, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna try to see that whenever it comes through, and just haven't got around to doing the drive-in part of it.
I think you'll like it. I know I enjoyed it. I'm not going to try to give any spoilers away to everyone. It was different than what I imagined it was going to be like through the trailers and all.
Okay,
but not bad.
Since I hadn't, and I don't like to get my spoilers, but I've heard this through other people who have seen it. They rated it low because there's no T-Rex. One of the people watched it and she was just like, T-Rex wasn't in it. I didn't remember seeing T-Rex in it, so no. And I was like,
I'm pretty sure there was.
She said that there was the one from 5 that was a T-Rex, but a mixture of all the other kind of genetic things as well.
No, and that wasn't a T-Rex in number 5. That was an Indoraptor.
Right.
That was a raptor.
Right, but they had mixed a whole bunch of different kind of dino DNA into it. So
I'm looking it up.
Okay. Because I was
I'm pretty sure there was.
Okay, I would be like, it would be surprising for me for there not to be, because so many of the movies, big selling point is the T-Rex. Like the first one.
No, the T-Rex is definitely in it, dude. Definitely.
Okay. So from how this one ended, because I haven't seen it, are they going to make another one? Is this the end? Is Jurassic World? Did they do a Jurassic Park trilogy and now a Jurassic World trilogy, and that's the end of the whole Jurassic series? Now you think?
I think it's the end. I don't see where else they could go. Um, I mean, you had all of the people from all of the movies come back, basically all of the main characters,
Mm-hmm.
and they were kind of like, "You done? Yep, I'm done. You done? Yep. Let's get the hell out of here."
Okay.
There's no more islands to explore
Well, they've only ever really explored two islands,
out of the three.
right? It was in the first one. It was Nebula, or yeah, Nebula, and then 2 and 3 was Sarah Saros or something like that. It started with some
Yeah,
S name, and then we go back to World, and they're back at Nebula.
yeah.
So those, at the end of Fallen Kingdom, they have the whole like dinosaurs are everywhere now. They're all around the world, so there's nowhere else for it to explore it.
There was when you Google Jurassic Park movies, it
Uh
comes up with Battle at Big Rock.
huh.
So there is a short movie that actually happens between Fallen Kingdom and Dominion. Did you know that?
Okay. No, no. I
Yep.
know. I know that whenever I was looking for it on streaming services for the Jurassic Park movies, Netflix has an original series that's Jurassic Park based, but
Is this a
I didn't invest my time into that.
Oh yeah, Battle at Big Rock. It's basically the Dominion prologue.
Okay.
You learn
And
something new every day, Jeff.
now this wasn't part of a post credit thing,
No.
huh?
No.
Interesting.
Interesting here.
Interesting. No, so they kind of. Do you feel like that was the end of it for it? Does it feel like ending on like a sour note? Like you said, by the end of it, you were like, "Yep, I'm done. Yep, I'm done. Yep, I'm done. Yep, I'm done." It does it
I don't
kind of
think it
leave
was
a
a
sour
sour note.
taste?
No, I don't think it was a sour note at all. What I think is that they've had six wonderful, possibly seven, because of this little short
Right,
movie,
right,
um, movies, and they've explored what they can. Ugh,
right. Like
I'm so sorry.
all
That came out of
good,
nowhere.
man. I mean,
Um,
that's the thing is we have those 6 movies. We also have the video games from it. We also have the Lego series from it. It's been referenced in so much pop culture. Besides that, so yeah, there's really not much left to mine from that one. I would imagine. I was curious whenever
no.
they were doing Dominion, where it was like, well, what else do you have left to mine except for like I was thinking, at the end of 5, it's the dinosaurs are kind of not just on those two islands now; they're kind of worldwide spread, and it's okay. How do we deal with dinosaurs being just part of our everyday lives now?
I mean, that would be because that's not where this movie went at all, which I thought is where it was going to go.
Right, with how they ended it in Fallen Kingdom, you would think like, oh, how do we now live alongside humans and dinosaurs, and how will that work?
I mean, it was a little bit like that, but not entirely. Like, if they did another Jurassic World movie or Jurassic Park movie,
Hmm.
that's probably where they would have to go. Is it's a normal thing just to see dinosaurs walking down the road now.
Right, right. Um, Now something that I was watching in the first one, and maybe it's because whenever you first watch a movie, you usually watch it whenever you're young. So this one came out when I was a kid. So all you really ever thought about was, ha ha ha, the T Rex ate a guy off a toilet. That's super funny. Big old dinosaurs running around, velociraptors. That was
Yeah,
the main 3 points you got out of that movie when you were
yeah.
young and the first time you watch it.
Mhm.
I'm not sure if it's because I've gotten this, cynical, or now I just try to find hidden messages in everything. But I was watching the first Jurassic Park, and my thought was, oh my gosh, this whole movie is just a metaphor for the risks of investment banking. That's what the whole movie is. It's a here's what happens if you're not good with how you invest. Here's what happens if you're not good with following risky investments. It can bite you in the butt, literally or figuratively. And it, and it, and it,
Um,
and it almost like not like soured, but I was just like, oh, I've gotten to that point of cynical towards this where I'm like, oh, I already know all this stuff about the dinosaurs. What's the deeper message here?
I think that maybe I don't know what to say to that, man, because no, I didn't see that at all.
Because like so we have this part where Malcolm, played by Goldblum, has this whole his whole freaking out is more about the ethics of the whole thing. You guys had this thing, you created all this stuff, you have these dinosaurs, and before you think what you could ethically do, it was how can we commercialize this? How can we monetize this? How can we make profit off of it? Not about the ethics of, hey, we have this creature that hasn't been on the planet for 10 million years and we created a version of it.
I mean,
And
that's
I
like 95% of what the world does now, though.
right, and that's the part where we get to in Jurassic World where we see, oh, that thing that failed on why we shouldn't, on all the reasons why we shouldn't, they do it anyway because again, the consumer side, the capitalist side, the hey, where can I make my quick buck off of this will always exist.
See, I didn't go that theoretical into it. I looked at it as a zoo.
Right.
Obviously, we brought these creatures into the world and we foobarred it up the first time. But now they're here, and even though they failed, we could do better and actually make it how it is, just like a normal zoo, and have it be a part of like just like a zoo.
Right. Well, like in the second movie, Hammond's whole thing after the whole park fails is now, well, we just need a place where they can just be on their own. We've created them, let nature do its thing, a safety reserve, because we know what happens when we get humans involved. It's not good. There's a lot of people lost, there's a lot of money lost, there's a lot of just ethical questions there on what do we do with these creatures if we shouldn't pin them up? Should we just let them be free? And so we have that two fights going on between the second Jurassic Park movie and then the first Jurassic World movie, to where it's no, we're still gonna make it, like you said, to you, like in the first one they try to do it more theme park like, and in Jurassic World, like you said, it is more zoo experience. It's this combination Sea World interactive zoo.
Yep, pretty much. I just don't get investment banking out of any of that.
Well, the reason why I was thinking about it in the first one with the whole like risky investment banking is because the lawyer that gets eaten off the toilet, he talks about this whole, hey, we're dealing with lawsuits from this. We have people who aren't going to want to fund this because of the dangers associated with it. The whole reason why you have the two paleontologists there and the mathematician there and the lawyer with the investment is all to say, yes, this park's in good condition. Yes, this park's ready to go. And we see how that fails. And it's still at that point, like with investment banking, the people who are the investors for that have already paid because in their minds, it's a if this works, people are going to come and pay huge amounts of money to see these creatures, to go to this place, to go to this resort, to experience this once in a lifetime kind of thing. They're going to pay a bunch of money. So the risk of investment banking in that situation, to where it's putting money down before anything has actually even been set in place on the hopes that you'll get a huge return without understanding what is actually the true risks there.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't make the movie, so I can't Can't say
Right.
what they were trying to, summarize or whatever, but I don't get that at all because if that was the case, then Deep Blue Sea would also be a warning against scientific research.
Well, I love movies like Jurassic Park and Deep Blue Sea for the, as it's sometimes called, the bad science of it. The whole, hey, here's what we're doing with gene splicing. That's not how gene splicing works. Here's how we're doing on extracting the DNA. You couldn't do that to extract DNA. Like, that's the thing, is like they use these bad science things and just make it as like the whole crux of their thing. And like the same thing with Deep Blue Sea, where it's just like, hey, we're doing this to just for the sake of scientific research. That's not how scientific research works.
Yeah, but I mean, I just like to say that it's an analogy to investment banking. I think it actually, I don't see it. I know that like there it is similar, and you can like summarize like, oh, yep, this is why you shouldn't just invest in stuff, folks. But I just
Right.
don't think that it was intentional for that to.
Oh, I don't think it was intentional. I think it was, like I said, like it's more of an allegory to where it's, it's almost just like just because something has a lot of money thrown at it doesn't mean that it's always a good thing.
Okay, okay, okay. I'm gonna share this real quick so people can see it. Okay, there we go.
Okay.
Boom. Um. So well, we talked about 1 through 3, then into the beginning of Jurassic World.
Right.
Um.
I,
Hi.
I I mean, three isn't bad. It's just almost slightly forgettable.
I mean, could out of all of them. So okay, you have Hammond, and they go to the park, and things happen, and then you have Lost World, that starts out with the little girl, right?
Yes. Yes.
Then you have
Where
3, where it's the guy and his
his son.
stepdad,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then his
Right.
parents go looking for him.
Right. Right. In the second one, you still have this whole like, hey, now we're trying to create a dino reserve, but there's also people who are wanting to use the dinosaurs for other things, i.e., trophy hunting or still making a park but putting it in mainland. And the third one is just a rescue mission that they just happen to so be on one of the islands that has dinosaurs on it. At that part, you're not even thinking dinosaur park. You're not viewing it as the experiments and stuff like that, how they did on the dinosaurs or the trapping of them. No, it's a rescue mission that just has the dinosaurs as a background focus.
Yeah, I mean, I liked 3 for that reason though, because it didn't have to be so heavy. It was something like they went back to the original Jurassic Park because that's where they got stranded, and all of this stuff is still there from everything they did from the first movie.
No, in the third one, they're on the second island. They're on the island where all the breeding happens.
I don't think so, bud.
Yeah, well, whenever I was reading over my description of it, the island that they said was the second island.
Yeah, Sorna.
Yeah,
Okay.
Sorna, which is where the third movie takes place, which is where the second movie's at. It's the breeding island that they had. They had never really talked about putting a park there. It's where their facilities were at. It's where,
Well, it was
hey,
it was their experiment on the breeding, but they
right,
still had like the incubation rooms. They still had
yeah,
the vehicles and everything like that.
right, right. It was. I know I'm gonna butcher the name, but the first island, Nabula.
Well, this is not Star Wars, sir.
I know. Um, I just am not good at my Spanish island names. Um, and that one, it's and they kind of talk about it in two, where it's like, oh yeah, that island where the park was at was more like our showroom. Here, come see all the flashy dinosaurs that we've made. Come check these out. But where the real experimentation, the real genetic stuff, the real like meat and potatoes of their dinosaur creation with cloning was all done at the other island.
Yeah, on Sorna.
Yeah.
But I mean, I enjoyed 3. I was a
Yeah,
less of a fan of the Lost World.
I'm not trashing 3. It's just out of those, it's just the one that feels the least Jurassic Park, Jurassic World feeling to me.
I mean, I guess I can see where you're coming from. I don't agree, of course, but I can see where
Right.
you're coming from. I just feel like if that was your feeling, it was less of a Jurassic Park because of where it is. Then Lost World should have been less of a Jurassic Park as well.
Well, it the second one doesn't feel like less of Jurassic Park because the reason why at least a part of that group is on that second island is to take dinosaurs to make a mainland Jurassic Park in San Diego.
Right, but it starts off with a little girl being attacked by mini dinosaurs.
Right, all that was a side thing to say that yes, these dinosaurs are surviving in a place that they've been told they shouldn't be surviving at.
Right.
She's literally there for like 30 seconds. So it's one of those, oh, there's still dinosaurs on this island. Other people who are part of the investment group of Hammond's was like, yeah, we can go to that, grab up a few of the more tame ones for the most part, minus more of the tame ones, and or ones that they could easily handle, and put them in a park in San Diego instead of it being some resort on some island somewhere. Hey, we'll make this in San Diego and it'll be a little attractive like SeaWorld or the San Diego Zoo, but it's a Jurassic version of it. So there's
So
still
how would
that part
that
going
differ
on.
from Fallen Kingdom?
Um, it doesn't. Like I said, like to me, it's the only one that feels well outside. The way that it's different is Fallen Kingdom isn't as much planned. I know that sounds crazy, but it's more of a hey, if we don't, this volcano is going to kill them, and the whole idea is like to just get them to a safe place.
But while
Whereas,
they're there, they find another group of headhunters
right,
that are trying to either A, get their trophies, or B, capture them to bring them back.
right. It's two Jurassic World, Lost World, yeah, Lost World and Fallen Kingdom feel very much like the same, just done one dealing with the park and one dealing with the world.
Okay, okay. Um, yeah, I just feel like when you look at Jurassic Park and Lost World, it's basically it's basically Jurassic World and Fallen Kingdom, just
Right. Updated.
modernized.
Right. That's a great way to put it.
But as
I
far as like Dominion goes, Dominion really it has something to do with the parks, but it also doesn't really have anything to do with the parks.
so it's almost like they did Jurassic Jurassic Park, Lost World, Jurassic Park 3, and then they made an updated mirror version of it and made that Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom, Dominion.
I mean, I can tell you that it's a little bit different of a story. However, it's more of um that damn doctor always fucks everything up.
With the Malcolm, the math guy.
Henry Wu.
Oh, the scientist from 4 and 5 who essentially got his. No, he's only in 4, isn't he?
He's in all of them.
Well, I've only seen 4 and 5. I haven't seen 6. Wait, he's not in the
Have you
first one,
seen
is
one and
he?
two?
Is Wu in the first one? Yeah, he is. I completely forgot that he is in the first one.
BD Wong.
Yeah, he's not in the second one because he was a scientist and they didn't have the scientist involved in the second one.
No,
Like
but they
he
make
was a
mention of
geneticist.
him.
They do mention him. They do mention that he had a big role on that island with the experimentations and with the cloning and with the breeding.
Hmm.
So yeah, um, He plays a big role in that whole thing.
And he's not technically in 3 as well. However, a lot of his experiments are credited back to him.
Right, right. Well, like, okay, so there's the whole raptors that have feathers in the third one.
Yeah, which depending on who you listen to, that's how they're supposed to look anyway.
Well, how I go with on that one is we know um from the World Series that um besides just mixing it with besides just the whole DNA mixed with frog, he mixed it with this and he's mixing it with this and he's mixing it with all these other kind of creatures. So who's to say whenever he was doing the experiments at the other one that he wasn't mixing raptors with some kind of raptor like bird DNA to fill in those gaps. If he was following along the whole theory of evolution to birds and saying, okay, maybe instead of these frogs for raptor like dinosaurs mixing in bird DNA and that causing the feather effect.
Well, that's not exactly how Dominion goes. No, I
Well, I
don't
just
want to
meant
give
like
away.
I just meant for like for the third one where the feathers are at there. Where yes, there are those who say that's how raptors should look, and me saying, well, as far as we know, Wong was mixing every kind of animal under the sun with these dinosaur DNA to try to get an even more versatile, interesting type of dinosaur. So he could have mixed Velociraptor DNA with a bird of prey type of DNA, and it started to cause some kind of feathers reaction to it.
Well, I think the first time we ever saw the feather raptor or the feather dinosaur at all is in Dominion.
Well, no, we see the raptors that have the little feathers on them in the third movie. They're not like flying or anything. They just have some feathers that are coming off of their elbows. They're like they're not like an ability to fly, but they're slightly feathered.
You're saying in Jurassic Park 3?
In Jurassic Park 3, the raptors that chase after the boy, they have these like little feathers on them.
I don't remember those.
And there was a lot of talk at that point about, oh, they're just trying to be more scientifically accurate from what paleontologists have said, with velociraptors potentially having some kind of feathering or feather like apparatus to them.
Hmm. I'm trying to find a picture because
You're not remembering that look?
nope. And I just recently watched the movie.
Yeah. No, like I was getting that's the next one that I'm going to watch is Jurassic Park 3, and my first thought was, "Oh yeah, it's the one that has the feather raptors." Because that's the one that has Spinosaurus and the feather raptors. And I'm pretty sure it's the only one where they introduce that because yes, in Fallen Kingdom, I'm pretty sure they have the species of flying dinosaur that is a feathered one. I can't think of its name, but
So in Jurassic Park 3, the raptors have more colorful schemes. The upper half of their bodies are colored purple with stripes of other colors. The males of these raptors have quills on top of their head. In general,
okay.
they had crests with more elongated and pointed skulls. Nothing about feathers.
Maybe it's the quills that I'm thinking, but I could swear, like off of their elbows, they had like almost like feather like protrusion. Like it wasn't
Yeah,
like
they have like the quills.
not no, that's on the head.
No, they would
Is it
have
also on
it.
the elbow? Because to
No,
me,
it's
the ones on their elbow almost have a feather like look, and I could be mistaken. It could just be a quill.
yeah. No, it just says on top of their head.
Hmm.
I'm trying to find like a picture.
Right. Right. But yeah, they
You know
do
what?
look, but they do look different than any other raptor from the whole
Yeah, they
series.
started bringing in the colors and all.
Right. Ugh.
I'm going to actually. Oh, somebody watched Fallen Kingdom today.
Hmm.
And Morbius. What the hell? Anyway.
No, those might have been. Well, somebody has, but it wasn't me. I think whenever I adjusted the filter to the list one, Morbius was one of the first ones that popped up, and I might have accidentally clicked it, and it was like, nope, that's not what I'm looking for.
All right. So we are going to mute this.
Okay.
And I'm going to scroll through because if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I don't remember that at all. You said when the Raptors are chasing the boy?
Yeah, so if you remember, it's the second time we see the Raptors. So we have Grant's with them, right?
Okay.
By that point, Grant's with him. They've gone from that plane that he was hiding in into the main building complex. And they're chasing him through the complex. It's Grant and the boy before the dad shows up. Where we kind of see them like prowling through like a slow, like their stalking move. And I feel like in that scene, on their elbows, like so you see their head quills, like when they're moving and they kind of do like that shake with the quill sound. And I feel like they do a pan across, and on their elbows, it looks like again, it could be like more quills, but it looks to me like almost like a feathered look at the end of their elbow.
Come on, let me see the side. Okay. You ready for this?
Let's see it.
Right there.
See what we get.
Ah, it's not going to let me share it.
Ah, boo. But
Oh.
I'm guessing no quills, no feathers, no nothing.
No.
Okay. Don't know what I was
None.
thinking then with that.
The only quills they have are on the back of their head.
Okay. And I do remember
Because
that.
I'm pretty sure the only time they actually have feather-like apparatuses or anything is in Dominion.
Like I can remember is if it was in Fallen Kingdom where they have like that one that flies that does have the feathers. But I mean, because again, in I believe it might be four is the one where they had crossbred raptors with some kind of pterodactyl, and they had those goofy looking big headed pterodactyl things.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, yeah, that's science definitely gone wrong. That's genetics
Well,
gone. That's genetics gone goofy.
Well, in Dominion, you do see some of those feather dinosaurs, but
Okay,
it's explained, and I can't explain it without like
without giving
giving
away
you
a major plot point.
right.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
So, but yeah, I'm looking through all this, and they have the quills on the back of their head, and their face is longer.
Hmm.
But yeah, it doesn't look like any feather dinosaurs really appeared until
Dominion.
yep.
Okay. I just had this thought, and because we were talking about, it 6 is probably the last one. Dominion's probably the last. So it's gone through 6 movies, a handful of video games, some spin-offs, little, Lego had a thing with it before. Um, One thing that I'm surprised that they never did, and especially considering the time that it came out and a lot of other movies that came out that also had sequels to it, they never made a cartoon series out of it.
Yeah, it's
There,
weird. See, there
there
we
were
go.
okay. Yeah, I don't know why, but right in that elbow thought area right there, yeah, I thought that they had some kind of feathering, kind of like the quills on the back of their head, but like a little bit of feathering off. It might have just been the color scheme from their sides that I was thinking that from.
Yeah, because they have this stripe now, and then these
Yeah.
stripes. But you can see here, yeah, the only part that they
Okay.
have
Yeah.
the
So
quills.
so if you look at the raptor at the back, right? Look at that elbow crux. So you see how like the color tinting with that line? Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's what made me think they had some kind of feathering along
Oh no. However, I would not want to run into this chicken.
them. Right? um, I feel like I've seen. Does it say what documentary that one was from? Because
Uh,
it doesn't look like one of the ones from Walking with Dinosaurs, but it might have been from like Primeval.
it does not say.
Okay. But yeah, I've always been surprised that like with it being a very '90s movie and the
Yeah.
popularity that it had throughout the mid '90s, that they never made a Jurassic Park TV series, like TV series, cartoon series, something along those lines. Where
I
it's,
know.
you
I was
know,
just
like,
thinking because they turned everything into a cartoon.
right, like Men in Black had a cartoon,
Yeah.
Godzilla had a cartoon,
The
like
only
the
thing they came out
2000s
with in
Godzilla had a cartoon.
2018 was Camp. Um, is that Jurassic World camp show? Camp Cretaceous.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that was in
And I
2018.
and I think that might have been the thing that I was talking about that I saw that Netflix had done.
Right.
And I was like, oh, so Netflix is now getting in on the Jurassic game. That kind
I
of told
mean,
me
they
everything I
have
needed to
everything.
know. Yeah. I was like, well, if you're gonna already ruin enough animes for me, you might as well just go start ruining some of my favorite movies too.
Yeah, why not? Right. We
Yeah.
all live long enough for them to destroy our childhood. That
That is the
seems to be
truth.
what happens.
Well, just like I was saying, Men in Black had a cartoon series. I watched that cartoon series as a kid and, well, teenager. And it's still one of the cheesiest cartoons I ever remember watching. But I watched it because I liked Men in Black.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I ever watched the TV show for Men in Black, even though I like Men in Black. However, I can tell you that I watched the Aladdin series.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Same. The Aladdin
Mm.
series, the Little Mermaid little series that they had, I
Oh
think
yeah,
ran
yeah, yeah. I,
a season
I
or
forgot
two.
about that.
Yeah, yeah. But that's whenever Disney was doing their whole Disney afternoons, and they took as many show ideas as they could and turned them into just, hey, this is a movie that was popular, make it a series. This is another one that's
Yep.
popular, make it a series.
Yeah, they did that a lot.
Yeah, yeah, they did.
I feel
I
like
mean,
it's double dipping.
they're they're still doing it. I mean, a few years ago, one of my nephews was I was watching TV with him, and he was watching something on Disney Junior, and they had some kind of like Lion King series type of spinoff. I can't remember its name for the life of me. It was like a bunch of like other animals who had like symbols on them and stuff, and they were like all like protectors of the Pride Lands or something like that. And I was just like,
Oh,
and I was like, wow, they're really straining to find any kind of thing to add to this.
yeah, yeah. I don't know, but what is your favorite dinosaur?
My favorite dinosaur is a Triceratops. I've been a
Why?
fan of them. This isn't even like a whole Land Before Time, Sarah, and I like her attitude. It's more of the first time I ever saw Triceratops was in a book, um, where it was just like one of those like for kids books where it was like an encyclopedia of dinosaurs, and so you flip through and they show you all the pictures and drawings of it, and there was something about the Triceratops, just like its school of it, just like instantly caught my like eye, and I was like, that is the coolest looking thing I've ever seen. That is so awesome, and so I've just been a fan of the Triceratops ever since then.
What
So,
about the one with the holes in its
oh,
would that
like
be a mask?
a version of the Triceratops, one of the species of or breed of. I can never remember what their actual larger name is, but the ones that has the two holes and then the horn
Yep.
frail around it. Right. Yeah, I like pretty much any of those that have that look to it. I really just find interesting. And again, with it was more like a kid's book for it, so they weren't showing like the special like or truly unique ones. They were showing your basic. Here's your Brontosaurus. Here's your T Rex. Here's your Triceratops. Here's your Stegosaurus.
Centrosaurus.
Yes, centaurs. No, yeah, Centra, like Centarian, like
Yep,
the
and then
robot.
there's Pentaceratops.
Yeah,
Pentaceratops.
Pentaceratops.
Yep, and then the Protoceratops.
Is the Protoceratops the one that just has that big old bulb on its nose?
It's the big nosed one with the
Right,
smaller kind of fan.
right. It has a small fan, and instead of having a pointed, it just has. It almost just looks like the biggest wart ever on a nose.
And then you have like the one that has all of the horns,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
then the big
It,
horn,
it,
which
it,
is
it- well, is that the one that has the short stub horn and then the long horns that go,
no, it
or
has the
are
long
you talking
horns
about
and a
the one that
long
has the
horn.
main long one and
Yeah.
then like medium sized around the edge? No? Oh, it's longer around the edge? Okay, yes. Yeah. Okay.
And then you have Udinoceratops, which is looks like a big ass bird face with a
Yep.
very very
Yep.
small gill.
I want to think one of the Walking with Dinosaurs or like one of the sub series of that one focused on that due to um, a landslide that happened where they found a whole bunch of that species and just a whole like pit of them. And they found out from their dig that what caused this big, like what looked like more of a graveyard, and it was. And they thought, oh, it's just like something towards the end of the extinct, towards the end, the big meteorite kind of thing. They're like, no, this was just a huge mudslide that happened on a colossal level and just completely took all these ones out.
This guy, he looks so worried about his life no matter what. Aquilops? Aquilops? Yeah.
Is that like
Yeah.
the baby form and the grown? No, no, it's just another one. Okay,
No.
yeah, because I was like,
Yeah, look, he had these little horns up here, and he has this little like beak thing, and he's
which
just
has
like,
the little
what's that?
snap point on it.
Yeah, but you could tell he's like at the watering hole, right? He was just like drinking some water. He's like, "What's that?"
Yeah.
Yep, that's where I am. My favorite is the Ankylosaurus.
The clubtail one. Now, is there a
Yeah,
bunch
because he will
of
beat the
is,
fuck
is
out of
there a
you.
lot of like subspecies of Ankylosaurus like there was with Triceratops? Like
Yeah, we can go through some of those.
yeah, yeah. Because the ones that I'm thinking of is I know like the most common one that you're probably is the three club, right? That has the club on the side, club towards the end, and then the club at the other side of it with the hammer spiked sides.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's my favorite. Um, so let's see here if I can. I mean, he's just a great dinosaur. Like he's just a great turtle.
Right.
So you have the Haliosaurus, which is basically the same, except he doesn't have that club on the back of his tail.
He's just spiked around the sides.
Yep, and then you have the Minotaurus, which is he has spikes all over his back.
Okay.
And then you have and he has a very horned face. And then you have the Scoliosaurus, which is like he kind of looks same way, but his face, he doesn't have as many horns on his face.
Mm.
So
Now,
I mean, those are
now, does the Ankylosaurus also have two jutting horns from the face, like down the jaw?
no. So they have
Or,
ones
or,
here,
or
and they have two
right?
here.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. It's the I think you said it was the Minotaursaurus that has the one that's like that.
So the Minotaursaurus has ones that come straight out here, and
Yeah,
then that has like a skull plate over its whole snout with
yeah.
spikes. Yeah, I can actually show you
Okay.
because I love these dinosaurs.
Yeah, yeah. We're we're usually used to the top one there. Yeah.
Yeah, And then you have the Haliosaurus, which is
Mhm.
basically
The
the
same
Ankylosaurus,
without the tail club.
and he doesn't have any of the protrusions on his face.
Right. His protrusions are more greater along its sides.
Yep. And they're just so cute. They're my favorite.
They're basically Bowser.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the Heliosaurus, if you look at him and you stood him up, it's Bowser.
Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. I just love them. I love them. And I like the Ankylosaurus because of the club tail, because of how he uses it to defend himself. Like something's coming after him, he's just like, whoosh,
Damn. Right.
get out of here.
Like I think that played into my whole Triceratops thing as well, where I was just like, man, that's such like a should be offensive type of like build, but uses it in a defensive way.
Yeah. But he wasn't like, I don't know, like one, he was from all over the world. So like there are certain dinosaur types that like were only like in Asia, or they were only,
Right.
but like Ankylosaurus is literally one of the few that could be found everywhere.
Right, right. Any dig site that you go to, depending on the time era that they dug down into, you're probably going to come across one. Yeah.
I just wish that we actually lived with dinosaurs.
As cool as a idea as that sounds, I would not want that.
I mean, okay, maybe not the carnivore ones.
Like, okay, so like even let's say, okay, so the Ankylosaurus, right? Sounds like a great idea, you know, but again, it's a wild animal that has this clubbing tail that would just wreak damage to any kind of property you had.
Just don't stand near him.
Right. Well, it's just like, I guess it's one of those like, okay, would we how much would we contain them? Would this be like bison? You don't step outside and see bison everywhere. They're very much contained
I mean,
to
I'm thinking of like, yeah, if you were to like, wild animals, you're like, oh, look, there's an Ankylosaurus right over there. He's munching on his favorite snack. It's fine. Just don't go over there.
right, right,
I mean, they're herbivores. They are basically giant turtles
right.
that
But
could club you to death.
right, and that's the big thing that think about turtles we have today. We have the alligator snapping turtle. It can definitely do damage to you, and
Yeah.
it's considered just a turtle.
Yeah. This just happens to be like a 12-foot long, 7-foot tall turtle.
Yeah.
One that, if they were around today, I would definitely ask my wife if I could keep as a pet because I'm that idiot.
And that would be the problem. And that's why I'm like, no, let's not do this. Because there would be somebody who has way too much money, which is the other part that you get in the Jurassic Park movies. That it's just like these
You got
people
way
have
too much money. And
way
that's
too
what you
much
did with it.
money. Way too much money. And they're like, oh, what else can I do with this? We can create dinosaurs and then sell them and make it a park. Do it. I don't
Do it.
care. As he keeps saying in the first movie, spare no expense, spare no expense, spare
We
no
spared no
expense.
expense.
And it's
I mean,
like,
I'd be okay as long as the theropods weren't there.
yeah,
Because you don't do that. Like, you just don't. Like, the Tyrannosaurus and all of those, very large meat eating bipedal
you're
dinosaurs.
right. You're
Just
apex
don't do it.
predators. You're
Yeah,
apex
don't do it.
predator. And the thing is, again, with that much money, it's this ego that says, I'm going to do it because people are going to pay a whole bunch of money to come see this. If they want to come to a dino park, they're going to want to see the big ones. They're going to want to see the meat eaters. They're going to see the ones that they've seen the fossils of. Because whenever you go to a museum, you don't, most people who go to the museum, unless, those people who do have a favorite dinosaur, if you went to Museum of Natural History, if they had the ankylosaur, that's the first place that you would probably want to go look at, more than the Tyrannosaurus that they might have on display.
I mean, like if I'm going with carnivorous, I would go with raptor before the T Rex.
If I'm going carnivorous, I'm going with the Albertosaur.
Okay, why?
Um, I find that it is, in my opinion, while it's a bit smaller, it just everything about it I like over a T Rex. It's just like, hey, here's a T Rex that's even cooler.
I mean, it's a T Rex with like even smaller arms and a bigger head.
And it's more streamlined, and it's faster, and it was known from what I say known. We don't know nothing about them, but from paleontological studies, from that kind of stuff that they've theorized on, they were more pack hunters than even the T
Okay.
Rex was. And there's just something that I like about an animal that can be that size that still has the pack hunter mentality.
Now, what about the little ones?
Oh, like the ones like it, and actually they have I just remembered the scene in Lost World where they mess with that guy. He goes to pee, and they just start all swarming up on him. And he tries to run away a little bit, and they just swarm up on him, and then go away, and then swarm up on him again, and just essentially kill him by him making his own mistakes because he can't get away from them.
Yeah,
So
because he's a dick to them.
right, right. So like that's the thing is if you have something like that, we already have those in nature. They're called monitor lizards.
I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Like
But
like
they're just
that's
so damn cute. Just we're kind of running. They're like the bicentenarias. Yeah,
yeah, I know what you're
I love
you're
them.
going with that. Like I think like that's the big thing that where whenever you look at it, whenever it's like well how you said it's like the ankylosaur being like a turtle, to where it's like but that's the thing you go to a zoo and you usually don't go looking for turtles.
I mean, I would, but I'm weird like that.
Right, like I enjoy like the tortoise exhibit that they have like at the Wichita Zoo, and there's a few turtles that like whenever I go through the reptile place, I'll stop to look at because I think they're pretty cool looking, like the crooked neck turtle.
Or the frilled ones. Di- Dilophosaurus, the ones that go.
Yeah, yeah,
I like those too.
those are cool ones.
I don't know. I think like I wish we knew more about dinosaurs. To be honest with you, did you know that there's one called an erectopus?
No, I did not know that there's. I'm not surprised that there's one called an erectopus, but I
He's a
could
meat eater
not
too.
could not tell you what it looked like.
He's a meat eater. That's all I know.
Hmm. No,
I also like the ones that have like the egg on their head. It looks like.
oh yeah, it's not a plesiosaur, right? Or is it a plesiosaur?
I think it is because it's not the hadrosaurus because those are the ones that have the long swooping.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know. I think that these giant man-eating chickens are hilarious, though. So,
Giant man-eating chickens.
I mean, if they really are derived from birds,
Right.
like
Right.
or birds are derived from them,
Right. If birds are the next evolutionary step from the dinosaur, and the more time that we get into the fossil records of dinosaurs and compare them to birds, the more it feels like, yeah, there's probably a good amount of dinosaur species that, if we follow the line of evolution, did go that route.
I mean, that would explain why geese are evil sons of bitches with teeth.
Yeah. And why swans are even worse.
I don't like messing with geese, man. They actually hurt when they bite.
Yeah, they do.
I've been chased on many occasions once was on the phone with Jamie and she died laughing as I'm like yelling at this goose to get the fuck away from me.
uh,
Not a fun trip. Not a fun trip.
I'm sure it wasn't. This happened on a trip?
No, I was actually at Walmart and I was walking to the vape store and like I saw this goose and it was just sitting in the middle of the parking lot and I'm like, "Oh, there's a goose." And then all of a sudden I hear something behind me and I turn around and there's this goose with its wingspan like spread out
Right.
running full force at me honking and I'm like, "No, no, 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 no. Get away, get away, get away, get away." And Jamie's dying laughing.
Which is kind of interesting for a goose, unless it was being very like, unless there was a nest around and it was guarding
I don't
like a
know.
nest. Most geese are very docile. They're pretty great. Like they usually don't do much. They're great at keeping like lawns and like your areas like weed and pest free because they'll eat up all that stuff and keep it all down and short. Um, they're usually a pretty chill kind of bird, unless
No,
like again,
every flock of geese I've ever seen has had a problem with me. I don't know if
man,
they're like talking to me on their geese book or whatever, but
no,
they're like, "Fuck that
like
guy."
the only time that I've seen geese be aggressive, if it's during like nesting season, and you're getting like close to their area, and they feel like you're going after their eggs, or their hatchlings.
I don't know. I don't know. I definitely wasn't anywhere near them. I didn't see a nest. I was looking at one and it was probably a good like 30 feet away from me. And I'm
Mm.
like, "Oh, look, there's a goose." And then I'm like, "What is that sound?" And I turn around and then I ran this way. But the first time I was ever bitten by a goose, I was doing security up here in Kansas, and I was walking down the hallway. It was an outside building, and I went to go turn, and all of a sudden I heard flapping, and I turned, and there's a goose like right here, and
So
I'm
you
like,
got so you got all up in its area without it probably being aware of you or you aware of it, and so you probably startled it and it startled you, and so it just did what an animal normally does in nature whenever it's startled.
"Yep,
Doesn't make it any better. Doesn't make the bite any better, but at
no."
least
And
there's
then
some explanation to it.
and then the second time at that same like area, it was actually Brittany Center, just to let everyone know if you live in Wichita. I was checking a door and I heard some weird flapping noise, and I turned around and this goose tried to land on my fucking head. I'm telling you, they
They
hate
just
me.
don't like you, man.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. All right. Well, if anyone who is gonna watch later or watching now, tell us about your favorite dinosaur, your favorite part in the Jurassic Park movies. Let me know if you agree with Jeff that Jurassic Park is just about investment banking.
It's
I
a
swear to
stretch. It's
God,
a
sometimes you
stretch,
sound
but
70.
I know. Sometimes I am 70.
Yeah, investment banking, children. Let us know if you
Watch
love the
Jurassic
movies, hated
Park,
the
and it
movies.
tells you about the risk of investment banking.
Yes. Let me know or let us know if you've seen Dominion and what your takes on it. Do you think there's going to be a seventh one? These are things we want to know. So, anything else, Jeff?
If they made a cartoon spin-off series of Jurassic Park now, would you watch it? Let me know about it.
I'll have to think on that and let you know tomorrow.
Okay, sounds good.
Hmm. All right. Well, until next week, you messy, messy people, we will keep you in our hearts and minds. And
Much
I hope
love.
you have a great weekend.
Watch some Jurassic Park or other dinosaur themed ones this week. I highly suggest Walking with Dinosaurs if you haven't seen it.
I think
Later.
that's a theme. Like we bring that up like every couple of episodes, walking with dinosaurs for one reason or another.
It's a great series.
All right. Well, until next time, guys, have fun.
Bye.
Bye.